guys, it's Cassie Reyes, IBCLC. I've made many videos about pumps, and today I wanted to give you some insights and share my personal experience with using various breast pumps. So stay tuned to the end of the video to hear about the pros and cons of the pumps I used on my lactation journey and find out which one turned out to be my favorite. So the first pump I used was actually the Medela Symphony. I rented this pump when I left the hospital. I started using it right away in the hospital the day after my baby was born. And because she wasn't latching consistently, I was needing to use a nipple shield and I wanted to protect and optimize my milk supply. So I also went on to experience postpartum preeclampsia, which can also be really hard on your supply. It tends to make your supply decrease. So I rented this pump for a month to make sure I get off to a strong start. Things I did like about the pump are that it's hospital grade, so I found it to be strong and consistent. I personally already did know how to use the pump because I worked in the hospital and I'd set the pump up a million times for other patients, so that part was easy for me. Cons that I found were that the Medela does have a lot of parts that need to be cleaned, and it also needs to be plugged in, so I was tied to an outlet. Although some versions of this pump do have a rechargeable battery, most of them do not, at least the one I rented did not. It's also on the larger side and heavier side, so definitely not a very portable pump. The second pump I'll talk about is the Spectra 2. So you can see the Spectra 2 right here. This is the pump that became my primary pump once I returned my rented Symphony. I've always found this pump to be very good and very reliable, and it's the one that many of my clients use and are happy with. I wasn't disappointed in it at all. It has good suction, I got good milk output. I liked the slight vibration to it that it has that can help trigger a milk letdown. That being said, surprisingly, I really didn't use this pump that much. I didn't use it as much as I thought I would, and it's probably because I was using so many different pumps and trying them out, and I'll share a little bit about why I chose some of the more portable pumps. Cons that I found with this pump were that, again, the Spectra 2 does need to be plugged in, and I didn't like to have to find an outlet to sit near. I got this pump for free through my insurance, and it may have been worth paying a little bit more to get the Spectra 1, which is the exact same pump but with a battery. The third pump that I tried and was surprised at how much I used it was the Baby Buddha. This one's the Baby Buddha. I used this one a lot at night or if I was going out. It's very small, as you can see. It's about the size of a cell phone. It's very strong. Things I liked about it are that it's small, it's compact, it's easy to use. The battery lasts for about 3 pumping sessions, and it has surprisingly really strong suction, which works for some people and not for others. Consider the strength of the suction as both a pro and a con when reviewing this pump. Cons are that the suction is so strong that on stimulation mode, it can be a little too powerful for some people. So I recommend putting the pump right into expression mode on the lowest setting when you start, and then working up to your comfort level. So start out on the lowest level that you can. Also, I love that this pump has a battery that lasts for a few pumping sessions, but as with any battery operated pump, you do have to remember to charge it. It's such a bummer when you're ready to pump and you have a dead battery. So overall, I think the Baby Buddha was a great pump with strong suction. Just you have to be aware that in some settings, especially in that stimulation mode, the pump can be a little bit too strong for some people. Number 4 that I'll discuss, I used a couple of different variations of the Momcozy wearable pumps. Here's one of the examples of them. There's so many variations of the Momcozy pumps out there now, but I think I started using it kind of in their first couple of versions of this pump. My experience with it, and I mostly use these pumps at nighttime. My baby only latched on one side in the beginning, and I would actually use this pump on the other side at each feeding to protect my milk supply. So this wearable pump made me feel more efficient at night. I was able to wear it right in my bra, and while my baby latched on the left side, I was pumping on the right, and then I was able to go back to sleep quicker. So the pros that I found with this pump are that it's easy to wear in your bra, you don't have any cords or tubes connected to it, it's easy to leave all set up by your bedside before you go to bed at night, and it does hold up to 6 ounces of milk. Some of the cons I found with this pump are that the suction is kind of hit or miss. You have to have everything lined up just right and also pay close attention, because there were times when I'd be pumping with this for like 15 minutes and then look in and realize that it wasn't aligned correctly and it hadn't extracted much milk. Also, if the pieces aren't lined up just right, the pump can be prone to leakage, and spilled milk in the middle of the night just is the worst. It makes you want to cry. It can be a good backup pump for certain circumstances if you're on the go or you just need to pump one side while your baby's eating, but it can be a frustrating pump to use and might not be a great option as a primary pump for people. All right, so the 5th pump, and if you ask me which pump was my favorite, I mean, call me crazy, but my tried and true was a hand pump. And I used this so much more than I thought I would. I used it a lot. I found that it was easy to assemble, it's easy to wash since there are less parts and tubing and all of that. I got more milk out in less time because I had more control. I had more control of the length and the strength of each pull, so I could hold it down longer like this and use my other hand to do compressions. Obviously, the one downside to this is that it's a bit labor intensive. So since you have to do all the pumping manually, this may not be a pump that everyone wants to use as their primary pump. It's definitely a great tool to have and can be great to keep in your diaper bag or in a purse as a backup. Last but not least, as a bonus, later on in my lactation journey, I started using the Unimom Opera Plus. That's this little guy over here. You can see it's a little bit smaller than the Spectra, and this pump was actually sent to me by the company. The timing happened to coincide with when I was starting a new job and I needed to be away from my baby for full days of training. So what I loved about this pump was the efficiency. It's a hospital grade pump, and it actually has a lower price tag than a lot of other thousands of dollar hospital grade pumps on the market. It's small and compact, it's strong, it's quiet, it has a rechargeable battery, which actually lasted me my full work day. And what makes it a hospital grade pump is that it's a closed system and it has one motor for each side. So you're actually able to do different settings on each side during the same pumping session, which is really cool and unique about this pump. Not a lot of pumps do that. For more of an explanation, deeper dive into the features and settings, see my specific video about this pump. I'll leave links for all these pumps discussed in the video in the description below, along with a few discount codes. Let me know in the comments if you've tried any of these pumps and which one turned out to be your favorite. Also, if you find these videos helpful and you want to help them reach more families around the world by becoming a Patreon, I'll leave the link for that down below, and remember to subscribe to the channel. Remember, don't quit on your worst day. It does get easier, and I hope you found this video helpful. Bye, guys.